The old Miami Air. Oh, I am. Oh, the old shoot. The old boy. The old Marine layer is out in full force today. Doppler on the nines. Let's do it. It's 8 o'clock here in California. We have James Palmer. I'm guessing somewhere in Denver, but he might just be like under a palm tree somewhere. Jimmy Palm Trees is going to join us. We'll talk a little Broncos, a little Chiefs, a little Texans. He's always got the best scoop on the most exciting teams in the league, and those are some of them. How about Rodney McLeod? He's now a Brown safety. Of course, he was there last year. He's got a new quarterback situation potentially with Jameis Winston, and he decided to hang it up early. I don't think I've ever seen a player retire in May before the season's end. Can't wait to talk to him, and it all starts right now. Big show. Rodney McLeod. We'll talk a little Eagles with him. I'm sure relive some of the glory days. We've had a great week so far. Short week. No work Monday always helps. And then we had Jared Allen on, who absolutely crushed yesterday. We got the Aaron Rodgers retweet stamp of approval. We are appealing the NFL. Commissioner Roger Goodell, please fix the sack situation for our boy Jared Allen, who said yesterday, notably, that he would rather miss the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame passed him in entirety, lest he remove the mullet from his said head. That is a dedicated, wonderful, wonderful man. Loved having him. Loved having Elliot Wolf. We've had 3 GMs on in the past 3 weeks. Our booking is absolutely crushing. Big thanks to them for all their hard work. Off-season shows are some of my faves, and I cannot wait. Training camp's almost here. We're having meetings. What city should we go to? If you want us to stop in your city, meaning we come by in some sort of Winnebago, I don't know what Kat's going to figure out for us. We're going to, have an RV, a Sprint or something, and, post up shop, watch training camp, talk to coaches, talk to players, bring you some interviews, have some fun. Where do you want us to go? Let me know at Up and Adams and Show. And we might even go to Calvin Johnson's golf tournament. That one's in July. We're trying to squeeze it in. I'm trying to do a charity work trip as well. There's a lot going on in July. We've got an exciting summer here on Up and Adams. But we gotta, we have some loose ends here that we're gonna figure out on the Wednesday. Is our last round of questions that are unanswered. Unanswered questions, AFC South edition. Let's check out the odds over at FanDuel Sportsbook, shall we? Defending champion Texans. Okay, faves at plus 105. Okay, not as overwhelming a favorite as I feel like I would have expected. They're followed by the Jags at plus 270, Colts at plus 330, Titans plus 800. We're going to start with the Texans. Insider, reporter extraordinaire, James Palmer joining us with some insights on this team. But if I was to boil it down to one question that permeates my air when it comes to this Houston squad is, you had a flashy offseason. Is that going to translate from paper to on the field to vault them into contention in the AFC? They are contenders. Those odds are sort of funky, aren't they? When you're a young team coming off a breakout season like the Texans, there is a perception that they're automatically going to make the leap next year. And it might work that way in Madden, but we've seen it doesn't always go like that in the NFL. And that's why I kind of love how aggressive Nick Caserio and company have stayed this offseason. So if you take a look, there was no, let's wait for things to develop. Let's just see how this goes. We did so well. We overachieved. So let's keep that vibe going. No, Nick got busy. He made deals to bring in proven stars, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Danielle Hunter in the building. You heard Jared Allen just talking about him, waxing poetic on him yesterday. I think all of these moves, we'll take this team to another level. How big of a question is it? Not that big. There's a lot of positivity, a lot of steam around this team, and they've earned it. They were 10-7 last year with the third weakest schedule in the NFL. Now things have flipped. Of course, they become hunted. They get a tougher schedule. Mike North, Charlotte Carey gave them the 4th hardest schedule. Half of their games coming against playoff teams. 3 of the 4 teams played in conference championship last year. So if you look at the schedule, it's crazy. 3 of 4 in conference championships is nuts. It was critical to make the additions they did. They support CJ Stroud. Diggs, Nico Collins, he just got an extension yesterday. You love to see it. Schultz, Mixon. There isn't any, you look at some of these contending teams and there's these contract things lingering, or the T's and the Justins and what, they don't have that here. It's very nice. And they're getting guys back like Tank Dell, who was looking like the steal of the draft, hat tip to Caserio. in 2023 before his injury. So D'Amico clearly likes what they've done too. Here's what he had to say about his 1-2-3 trio of wide receivers.
When you talk about receivers with multiple skill sets, that's what you want. You want different body types, different type of movers, right, to cause as many problems for a defense as possible, right? We want to put defenses in binds. And I think with those three guys, it allows us to do that because they're so different, right, and they can all do different things. But at the end of the day, they are all explosive finishers with the football, right? And that's what makes those guys great players. They can win on third down, and they can finish and get in the end zone. And that's what we look for at all skill positions on offense. So having three receivers there, it definitely opens up the playbook for us, and it puts a lot of stress on the defense.
Okay, so the bar raised in Houston, trip to New Orleans. Sounds like it's the goal here, and why not? If this new talent can live up to expectations, I think it is a reality and is certainly a possibility for the group. So a question for them, but not a huge question. I think they're going to be A-okay and really fun to watch. Let's move on to the Jags here. Unanswered questions around the AFC South. We've got James Palmer. We've got Rodney McLeod on the program. We have seen Houston load up around Stroud. Okay, we've seen that. So when you look at the Jags side of things and you think of a question, it's got to be, why didn't you do that? Have you done enough to support Trevor Lawrence? Like, is he living as well and is sleeping as well as CJ Stroud and his division rival here? Doug Peterson actually met with the media yesterday. He talked about his quarterback. He talked about his evolution mentally, his growth in that area, and why he is calling a big 2024.
I learned this back when I went to Green Bay as a player under Mike Holmgren. He always taught us, that it takes 3 to 4 years. It takes that time to develop into the quarterback that you want to become. For Trevor, he's now into that third year with us, and so that part. I think for us, that's the encouraging part as an offensive staff, especially myself, just now going into that third year, and this is kind of that jump year that he can have, moving forward.
Jump year he could have. I would love to see it, and I believe him. I don't know why he would say that if that wasn't true. It's putting pressure on your quarterback, who, if you really think about why it didn't work out, and by the way, he didn't have Christian Kirk for the last 5 games. That didn't help either. But Trevor Lawrence has dealt with these injuries: the knee, the ankle, the shoulder, the head. Like, he's a game of operation. Like, it's not great. He went through a lot. It is how he plays. So is it almost to be expected that he might miss some time? That's a valid concern, I guess. But it's really about, how do we put him in the best position? How do we protect him? And, Jags fans love just turning the heat up on Balky. They just love going after Trent. And they did, and the coaching staff, to say, give him more support. And then they get, they got outbid for Calvin Ridley. So that was probably one of the more shocking things that happened in free agency in the offseason. But, Trent didn't sit around twiddling his thumbs there either, as Matt Hamilton would love for me to tell you. He goes and gets Gabe Davis, one of my faves in free agency, a guy who wants to be a true number one, feels like he has a lot to prove, feels like a lot was left on the field last year. And it was, if you really look at some of the game film from last year, just trust me on that. Gabe Davis is hungry to be this guy. He, Trent went out and got LSU receiver Brian Thomas in the first round. There's talent here, guys. Evan Engram, he had a 114 catch season. He was like this low-hanging New York Giants pinata that never worked out. 114 catch season last year. Christian Kirk had career highs, even though he missed games in yards per game. He was on fire. Balky upgraded the O-line. You got to try to keep Trevor healthy as you can keep him. You can't put it all on the O-line because Trevor's out there like playing the way that he plays. But they got Mitch Morse, stole him from the Bills. You love to see it. Is it enough to unlock the potential Peterson's talking about? I don't know. They need Brian Thomas Jr. He's probably the key here. Is he going to be, the proverbial Big Lebowski rug that ties the room together? Is he the guy? Press Taylor. I remember we were in London last year. They were going to take on the Titans, and it was give the ball to, what are we doing here? Was Press Taylor the guy? Can he light it up? And we don't want that to come under question again. But you'd think that they're going to be right in it to snatch that AFC crown back from Houston. It'll be actually really fun to see how those two duke it out at the top. Okay, Colts, I think, it's a question everyone has, because we got a little taste of what he can do last year. And it is, Why are we sleeping on Anthony Richardson? It's not how good can he be. It's why don't we get it collectively? I have Darius Butler on my show. He's in Indy, close to McAfee. They're all right there. And we always, every week, I feel like Darius and I hash and rehash. Why are we sleeping on Anthony Richardson? The highlights we got last year were insane. We forget. We collectively forget. We only saw him start and finish 2 games. I know that. And that's why we forget, right? He missed almost the entire year. Jonathan Taylor missed half the season with injuries. There's a contract situation. That was never fun. But the Colts were a game and really just a play away from making the playoffs, okay? It speaks volume of the talent on the roster that really one of the most badass, like to the point, doesn't give an F GMs I know, Chris Ballard, has assembled, and the unheralded coaching of Shane Steichen. Now, if you take that and you throw a season of Jonathan Taylor into the mix where he's healthy and the respectfully alien skill set that Richardson has, there's not a team. I guess that's the question. I'm going to redo my question. Is there a more slept on team than the Colts this year? I don't think so. I think they're more slept on. I mean, the Chargers are getting so much hype. You look at other teams that are unheralded. The Falcons, super hyped. It's got to be the Colts for me. It's not the Bears, certainly. So couple injuries. They got it though. It doesn't sound like this shoulder thing with Anthony, which I guess would be a concern here. It hasn't held him back in OTAs. Has anybody heard that? I haven't. Steichen was actually asked if Richardson had any rust so far.
I think with any player, you have a little rust every once in a while, but he's been pretty smooth out there so far. Completing a lot of balls, completion percentage has been good, knowing where to go with the football, which is a good sign. But I like where he's at right now, big time.
Okay, my question then, it's the third iteration of the question. The unanswered question is, why are we sleeping on him? I guess, can he stay healthy as a baby one? Fine. But we don't know that. If he can stay on the field, is he the biggest wild card in the NFL right now, in the entire league right now? No one's talking about him. Just watch and pay attention when the season comes. Okay, last one before we hit break. Jimmy Palmtrees. By the way, Richard, tell Jimmy Palmtrees, you think I'd get a text from my boy? You think he'd say yo, 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 coming on the show, gave him the retweet, said Jimmy Palmtrees? Nothing. Just nada, nunca. Doesn't, I guess he's saving it all for air, I guess, but not Jimmy, nothing. Okay, let's get into the Titans, a team he knows really, really well. James Palmer, the perfect guest to have on a day like today. But my question for the Tennessee Titans, the unanswered one, is can we just get it together with the O-line? How hard can it be? Let's do this. Will Levis. I love Will Levis. Will Levis and I had a rough relationship when we started. He stood me up. It wasn't great. Then I played ping pong with him. He came on the show. I saw him at the Derby, at the Sports Illustrated party. He couldn't be cooler, couldn't be nicer. Aaron Rodgers is ignoring me. You got Will Levis being so kind and wonderful. I'm a Will Levis supporter now, but you cannot expect anything from him if you cannot protect him. And they were a mess up front last year. Look at this. The Titans allowed the second highest sack rate in the NFL. Their quarterbacks pressured on over a third of their dropbacks, and they made it tough on Derrick Henry. It's hard to do, okay? Second worst yards before contact of any team in the league. I blame Taylor Lewan, friend of the show, for retiring. You heard Delaney Walker, Titans legend great, say, I'm all in on Will Levis this year. I heard that and said, me too, if they can protect him. Whispers. Asterisks. Their GM went in on fixing it this season. Is it enough? How does it shake out? They draft CJ Latham out of Alabama a year after taking guard Pete Skoronski in the first. They also sign Lloyd Cushenberry away from Denver. New head coach Brian Callahan might be the biggest get of all. He adds his pops, Bill Callahan, as the offensive line coach. So Bill, remember the sled Bertha that you're watching Latham push? Okay, he invented that, but he also turned every O-line he's ever coached into gold, okay? So for the Browns the past few years, the Cowboys lines that made, here's a throwback to Marco Murray, a big star, to the group that helped the Jets reach back-to-back AFC title games. That is Callahan. He is an offensive line I'm not gonna, do I give the Skarnecchia sort of vibe to it? I don't know about that, but he's an offensive line genius in his own right. And if he and this line can just give me some time, for Will Levis to find these sexy acquisitions like D-Hop and Calvin Ridley downfield, who they took away from their division rival. I love it. This offense will be explosive. And as Delaney Walker puts it, we will see Mr. Mayonnaise do some things in year 2. Okay, up next, from Mr. Mayonnaise to Mr. Jimmy Palmtrees. I want the goods. I want to know what's going on there with the Texans. I need to know what's going on with Sean Payton and these Broncos. Is it so good to see the guys? Look at my text. I don't want a pity text from Palmtrees. We'll be back. Hey Hamilton, I just have Jimmy Palmtrees with 3 palm trees on the thing. It's been a long time.
I think last time we talked to him was in Philly last year during the training camp tour.
Do you like how I changed? Oh yeah. Do you like how I changed my question for
4 times? Yeah.
For Anthony Richardson? I mean, we had legit been saying it. If it doesn't pan out, I'll be sad.
Yeah. There's a lot to be excited about there for sure. And already what we're seeing out of OTAs is, and Steichen, like, again, you talk about the head coaches putting pressure. Like he was trying to downplay it during the press conference, but also like, you could tell he's really excited about where he's at. What's that?
I think he put pressure on him.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Because I think he like couldn't contain his excitement at points about, especially he really went into during that press conference, like the mental stuff that stood out with Anthony, which was great to hear, going into his second year, because we know what the physical is.
Well, sometimes coaches do that because their player needs to hear it. So you have to think that way too.
That's true.
So there's a world where you say, it's kind of like the McDaniel Tua. Let me give him as much confidence as possible, which we're not going to think that way, but I'm into him.
Yeah. That could be a big year.
Fun division. Titans, I'm more worried about, but I do love that Will Levis. What a character arc he has.
I know, it's unbelievable. He was in your doghouse for almost an entire year.
He can't, I mean, he was yanked like at air, right? It was like 7:50. It was like no Will Levis. And I went.
It's not all about you, Kat.
You think I gave him shit about it like every second of that event in Super Bowl? I did. I'm pretty sure I brought it up at the Derby. I'm pretty sure I was like, I'm pretty sure I still brought it up. I'm probably so annoying. He's like, ma'am.
You're going to have to let that one go. He came on the show at Super Bowl. Like we've made up. We're good.
Are we going to toss to a Will Selva update before we go to James Palmer here in a minute? Really bring everybody full circle?
I'm sure he's ready.
You got to get
sitting
Nate
there
Burleson.
In his garage, ready to go.
Yeah, Nate Burleson, got to get pop him on. Remember when he was on? He'd be sitting with next to Gail and like be doing our show because he had to deal with NFL Network still. Sly one, that Nate Burleson. All right, let's do it. Okay, he's one of my favorites. I've been dying to get him on the show. Dying. Wish that I could. NFL media wouldn't allow it to happen. Let's not get into that. That's in the past. Veteran reporter, insider, all-around good guy. James Palmer, I gotta tell you, it's good to see you. And on our morning call, we have some, Good Morning Football, injections into our production staff, and everyone's so excited to have you on.
I was very excited. I'm like, you mentioned earlier, like, why didn't you get a text or anything of that? I was like, I was getting like formal invites to come on the show. It was so professional, and all these people are texting me. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. I was like, wow, I didn't even get Kay. She got all these people. This is incredible. I'm super stoked. This has been a minute. We've talked about this forever, Kay, about doing this.
I can't believe
and now here it is.
Yeah, since Philadelphia, when we were both, I believe there was like a puppy, and it was Brandon Graham and Lane Johnson, and we got to
big tree.
True. And then their season, I mean, maybe we were the bad omen for them.
Well, I don't know about that. A lot of reasons that didn't go right. We'll get to it.
Okay, sure. I'd love to. I mean, if you have that answer, I thought we'd have to wait 20 years for Apple to come out with some, 10-part series on what
Yeah,
happened in the 23 season with the Eagles.
I'd watch.
Well, I'd watch you. Let me see. I have to see. I don't even see you yet. There's your hair. Your hair looks good, kid.
Right.
Looking
I
good.
changed barbers. This is a big deal. Eddie was not showing up on time. Just didn't even show up for an appointment. I've had him for a long time. And I went to a guy that's 2 stops down from him. I'm terrified now to walk to Lavelle and go to his barber shop because I got to go buy my old guy to get to him. This is a huge situation going on here. So I'm trying to schedule on days that I know Eddie's not working. I don't think he watches this show.
Running into your
he
ex is
might
not
and
great.
know
What do
now.
you mean he doesn't watch the show? What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I just know what Eddie's interested in, and sports ain't it. So yeah.
Shout out to Eddie. We're going to clip this and put it out there. I know that you're interested in bar games. You're a very confident guy. And I like this about you, but you posted this recently. The Palmers dominate at bar games. You've got a dart set in your backyard. What is the strongest bar game you've got? Like if you were to win the gold in Paris?
All of them. I mean, it really, you don't spend almost 6 years at Ohio State and not be good at like bar games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so this was constructed so we could play at night as well, throughout the day. But yeah, if it involves video games, terrible. Okay. But if it involves the hands, like darts, beer pong, flip cup, foosball, we better be on a tornado table or we're not playing. Like cornhole, I would say is probably the next one after darts, but none of these are really like important in the grand scheme of life. Cause I've realized now, cause we just had Memorial Day weekend, like the only thing that comes out of this now is middle-aged men get angry and then don't want to play you. And like the barbecue's not a whole lot of fun. So there's nothing positive coming out of being good at these dark games. And it's my entire family. Everybody's great at them.
I feel like Ted Lasso, a lot came good out of that dark game. Like he,
That's true. I just finished Ted Lasso last night for the second go round.
You watched it. Oh, I could never watch a series again.
What?
I've never rewatched
on the road covering the NFL for the last like 10 years for NFL Network. I would start The Sopranos over during training camp in my hotel room, and I'd go through The Sopranos again by the time the Super Bowl rolled around.
Wow, never seen it. Would never rewatch it. Do you watch Hacks at all? Which are you watching right now?
I watch Hacks. I haven't started the new season yet. I love her. She's absolutely incredible. But I have to finish Jinx first. That's my HBO show right now with Robert Durst, the second season, the documentary. You don't watch Jinx?
I've never even heard of it, but Jean Smart was on a plane with me once, and I'm obsessed with her.
What? She's amazing.
She's amazing, and she was kind of cranky and like wonderful, and like she was so tall, and like I've seen her twice. I saw her at the SAG Awards backstage. I mean, I have a people microphone. I could easily go up to her. I would not. It was like there's very rare air of people I will not go talk to, and I was too intimidated to go say hi to her. Obsessed with her.
I get it. There's rarity though that a role like fits a person so perfectly. Like she is incredible. I'm excited to start that. I got one episode less of Jinx. You got to watch Jinx, guy.
Richard is telling me in my ear to watch. What I was supposed to say is, hey, everybody, watch the 2024 U.S. Darts Masters Friday at 7 p.m. on FanDuel TV Extra. And I'll have you know, it's like a really big, very well bet on thing, the U.S. Dart Masters. We got to get you in that, James.
I'm excited. I got time to plan right now. So yeah.
Well, you don't have time because you're busy and you're like so involved in these teams and what's going on. It's really amazing. So let's kick it off here. Let's go to Denver, where Sean Payton, did he say his quarterback room were orphaned dogs?
Certainly did. Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly did.
He says it's a good room though, also. So you've got Stidham, who I know that he likes. Zach Wilson, who he brought in, so he must like him or thinks he can get the best out of him, or Bo Nix, who he clearly likes because he drafted him. From what you are hearing, who has the edge?
Well, he says it's a good room. Let's first say that it's early, but this is probably the worst quarterback room in football. Now, that can change after this season, but that's just from track record of the guys in the room. But the front runner is Bo Nix, because I really do believe, and this is outside of the norm for Sean Payton to play rookies at really any position. But if you look at everything that's going on in Denver, the number one thing that they need to figure out this season is if Bo Nix was the right pick at 12. That's it. That is the point of the 2024 season in Denver, was Bo Nix at 12 the right play, because they were about the only team, as I called around, that was going to pick Bo Nix in that area. And I think it's interesting, too, considering another Peyton, in Peyton Manning case, spends a boatload of time still. The key fob still works at Dove Valley for Peyton Manning, and he's in that building all the time. He believes playing as a rookie is huge. Yes, he set the rookie interception record that he'd probably like to get broken by somebody this year. But he thinks that experience for Bo Nix would be big. He thinks this is a great fit for Nix. I watched him throw and operate on last Thursday at OTAs. What they're really focused on is operation, right? In and out of the huddle, tough for a rookie, getting the play into your teammates in the huddle, getting through everything, being decisive, being quick with football. He was doing all that. I was watching Bo Nix do that with 61 career starts in college. I think he does have some experience for a rookie, and Sean Payton liked all of that. The other part of this that I do find interesting is Zach Wilson, because the arm talent being there on Thursday next to Stidham, next to Bo Nix, was just standing out just easily. I mean, he threw some dimes out there, and I'm just fascinated by his talent winding up with somebody like Sean Payton. I talked to John Beck this offseason, who works with, he works with every quarterback on the planet, but he also works a lot with Zach. And we were talking about Zach, and I was like, what's next for him? He's like, he needs to land in a spot where he's going to grow. He needs to land in a spot where he can continue to improve, because he's still a young quarterback, but still has 33 starts under his belt, okay, right? Like, so they think the experience, people around him, John Beck included, the experience he had in New York with the difficulties there are going to mold him to be a better quarterback. I'm kind of fascinated to see behind the scenes what Sean Payton can do with Zach Wilson.
It's great on paper. It's very rare for a quarterback who had developmental issues, not because of him, because of OCs, because of whatever, because of system. It's very rare that there's a turnaround. It's very rare to see that second act, that Baker Mayfield, that what we're maybe hoping to see out of Sam Darnold up with the Vikings. But, I sort of think about who, when you look at Denver, you just think Sean Payton, because it's him. He's the culture. He's the decision maker. He's installing everything. You got to think, like, I remember when he was with the Saints and he pulled in Jameis, and there was a collective eye roll of like, Jameis, but he saw something in him and said, I have a healthy enough ego, and I know how good I am, that I can work with this. So like, I can't imagine at OTAs he's watching that, not thinking like, I got this. And if you think about Jameis, I just saw at the Derby, we talked about this before the injury, like he was turning around. He was not turning.
It's the best we saw him play in terms of protecting the football and a variety of things. You're right.
Yeah, so you got to think he's going to get the best out of Zach Wilson, and that could be a scary thing. I think like if you're a coach, you're looking at all the examples and analytics of it not working out. But that's why I love him, because he doesn't give an F, and he's going to go against the grain and say, I can get the best out of him. And Bo Nix will hopefully only benefit from that, like Zach Wilson benefited osmosis-wise from Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure. Let's talk about the Chiefs, who had Patrick Mahomes sit and develop, which was beautiful. And now they're they are where they are. They've been dealing with these off the field issues. The Butker thing, fine, but like the Rashee Rice thing, their car crash back in March, where do we stand with him, as that position, just X's and O's wise, is so important to this squad?
Yeah, we can say it's important, but they didn't have any receivers last year and they won the Super Bowl. But they got better receivers now, and the room's better. With Rashee Rice, where it stands right now is there's not a whole lot of movement in terms of the legal process at this moment, to my understanding. Now, he can go to OTAs. He was there. He can attend these workouts. He can participate. The Chiefs, to my understanding, are expecting him, to be suspended for a number of games. However many number of games are, they don't know that right now. Obviously, none of us do. We'll probably all find out at about the same time when the legal process goes through and the NFL's investigation goes through. But they're expecting him to be gone for a number of games. And it's interesting because they also want him to take a big step this year. And they want him to have more on his plate, is what I've been told. And they know how good he can be in the underneath stuff. They know how good he can be yards after the catch. And that's why they went and got the two other guys that they did in Hollywood Brown, and then drafting Xavier Worthy in the first round. It was, the deep aspect of our passing game that they were known for in the front end of Patrick Mahomes' career, just being so brilliant with Tyreek Hill and those guys going downfield, hasn't been there. It just hasn't been there. They want these guys to go deep, and they want to be able to add that part back into the offense. That's a big point of emphasis that I'm told in terms of this offseason. Well, both of those guys and how they can stretch the field, that just makes life easier for Rashee Rice, easier for Travis Kelce in the middle of the field to operate and work in space, because I think Rice is really good in finding those different spots to work in space in the middle of the field. But with Worthy, like, we know how talented he is. We know how fast he can run. What I want to see when we go to St. Joe, I'm not sure if your Winnebago is going to get to St. Joe. It's not really, like, it's kind of off the beaten path to get up there, Kay. But if you do, just keep an eye on how Xavier Worthy's handling everything mentally, because we know he can play. But what Andy Reid does is he puts so much on receivers. It's one of the toughest training camps in all of football, if not the toughest. He has such a strong mental makeup. His football intelligence is through the roof. He can run for days. These are all the things that Andy Reid was told by Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian, just to say, hey, this is why you should take him. He fits the profile of what you want in a wide receiver. He's not Tyreek Hill, two different players in Andy Reid and Brett Veach's mind. But what he can do on a football field mentally, that's going to be the big part on how impactful Xavier Worthy is in the beginning part of this season.
It's so interesting because a lot of people say, oh, he'll just be the plug and play for Deshaun Jackson or Tyreek Hill. You're saying they're not the same player, but the one thing that everyone tells me, whether it's Hall of Famer Chris Carter or whoever, it is all about how slept on Tyreek Hill's intelligence is. How slept on his instinct, and so it seems like that's a common thread that they both have, going to help them with such a big offense.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It really is. Actually, that was an underrated aspect of Tyreek. Maybe also his ability to track a ball in the air. I have to say this story because once I asked him, because like a lot of those balls were just thrown to space, right? And Tyreek was unbelievable at going and getting the football early in Mahomes' career. I was like, one time Tyreek was in the locker room and he's eating a thing of ice cream, soft served ice cream. And I'm like, dude, how do you track a ball so well? We're just sitting in his locker and he's like, kickball. I was like, what? He's like, I used to be the pitcher in kickball, and I'd roll the ball and then backpedal to the middle of the field and then catch everything that was kicked in like elementary school, middle school. He's like, kickball is how I learned how to track a football so well.
I think he'd beat your ass at darts.
He's a lefty too, because he'd be pretty good, I think. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Sky Moore. Well, I don't. Hamilton's texting me. He said, can Sky Moore be the underneath guy? Because I mean, they did take him. In the second round a couple of years ago, like if no Rice, could Sky Moore be someone I should be looking at?
Hamilton's kind of on something because, you know, they do need to fill that spot. That spot's going to need to be filled while Rashee Rice is out. And is it Sky Moore? Is it like, honestly, like a reset year for Kadarius Toney? Like, I'm curious how they go and fill that spot. I mean, they had such high expectations for Toney a season ago, if you remember. They thought he was going to be the one. How do they find a way to fill that void underneath when these two other guys are legitimately outside guys in Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy? You're not really probably putting one of those guys inside. I want to see what Sky Moore can do because they have been, I don't want to say like disappointed in Sky Moore, but it hasn't gone exactly how they've wanted it to go so far. But hell, everybody, progresses differently. Maybe another year for him and an opportunity like this early in camp, they can see something from him.
Yeah, and Mahomes has been saying he wants the deep game back, which is horrifying for like anyone. But a fun thing for Surtain, if you're out in Denver, of course, is one of probably my favorite player on that team. You covered Denver in and out, and you got to see the Russell Wilson experience. So now he's with the Steelers. Just who's starting week one? They got Kirk Cousins. Probably not him over Penix for sure. He's starting for the Falcons. They've got the Steelers on the docket. Is it Fields or is it Wilson?
Now, I put this out recently. I believe, and my understanding is that Justin Fields has a real shot at winning the starting job. Is that for week one? That's probably a little bit of an uphill battle to win it by week one, just by the way everything is kind of, I don't want to say slated against him, but that's kind of where it is right now. If you look at Russ's, resume and a Super Bowl and where he's at, and both have struggled recently, but there's a larger sample size of success for Russ than there is for Justin right now. Do I think he still has an opportunity to win the job at some point? I really, really do. I think that is possible. Is that by week one? Doesn't have to be. We saw a quarterback change there last year, right, Kay? And Mason Rudolph played well and kept it. I could see that happening. My bet would be that we see both quarterbacks play this year in Pittsburgh. I really do think we do. And I'm curious because Arthur Smith, and what we've been told, has a larger voice in that building than previous offensive coordinators. Who does Arthur like more? And who does Arthur think gives his offense the best chance to succeed? How much does Mike Tomlin listen to that? And how much is Mike Tomlin in agreement with that they make a change? I still think there's a chance, a very good chance, for Justin Fields to win the job. Is that by week 1? We'll see, but he could still win the starting job at some point during the season too if things are not going well.
I wonder what sort of promises were made to Russell Wilson and his team of like starting, getting the best chance to start, what it would look like to, put the shepherd's hook in. It'll be interesting. And there's a lot of talk about them getting a receiver, right? I've seen the DK Metcalf vibes. I've seen, just them bringing in another threat. Do you think that they do that?
It'd be against what we've seen in history in Pittsburgh. I mean, they just don't do it. I mean, doesn't mean they won't, but they just haven't over the years. I mean, they don't really pick receivers in the first round, and they don't really trade for receivers. I mean, my buddy Albert Breer, as we talk about all, former NFL Network people, and he does great work at SI. I think he put it out like a few weeks ago. There hasn't been a receiver to lead them in receiving that wasn't homegrown since like World War II. Like that's like how far back it went. So like, I mean, obviously whoever comes in is probably not going to be their 1, but they have a huge competition at 2. It's just not really what they do in terms of trading for receivers. I wouldn't, think they do it. I'd be really surprised if they did.
I wonder if it's also based on who was available at the time.
Sure.
Right? So then I'm thinking like if there's a world where, John Lynch is saying, call me about Ayuk, like that's gotta be hard to not have that conversation. Yeah,
Ayuk's a 1. I mean, he's a great receiver.
Yeah. I would be excited about the Steelers if they got them, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The whole vibe with the Steelers is, I'm sitting here saying you guys are idiots. Mike Tomlin's like such a goat. He's everyone's just, it's mid. It's, 500 isn't, everyone just wants a big move to happen, maybe more than any other team. So I almost would like it for the fan base even.
Yeah, true. But I also look at the way the offense is going to be built. Like I would look for Freiermuth to be a big part of what they're doing moving forward. It's a lot of the play action, like roll out. That's what Arthur does, hit the tight end type of stuff. So I could see like them almost thinking this isn't a massive priority. And if you're going to spend either, and when we say spend in the NFL, it's either capital, which is money, or assets, which are picks, right? And so if you're trading, you're giving something up for them. I'm just curious where that ranks in terms of needs on Arthur Smith's list on the offensive side of the ball or Mike's list as a whole for them right now.
Is Freiermuth the strangest name in the NFL right now? It's such a funny name. Freiermuth.
It is. I dig it though.
I haven't thought about Freiermuth in 2 years. So thank you for bringing him back to the conversation.
There you go. He's got some chemistry with Russ, I'm told early on in OTA.
So he's cool. So are you close to the Russ camp? Is that what I'm getting out of you? You're very like, what's going on here?
I don't. I think that's just Steelers. No, that's not Russ camp. No, that's not Russ camp talk. No.
Are you and Sierra like doing karaoke together? Is that what I'm reading?
Oh my God. I just started taking voice lessons, Kay. And so I really do hope Sierra and I can do, I don't know how that scenario would ever come into play with her and I, but if there is an opportunity and I'm pretty deep in these lessons, I'd go out there.
Drop something right now. Give us a little.
I said, if I'm deep in the lesson, I've had 1 lesson. So that's how confident I am after I've had 1 lesson. I learned, posture, breathing, mouth, PBM is very important. But all my go-to is the Humpty dance on karaoke, so that doesn't really need a whole lot of.
I don't understand why you're taking voice lessons. Hamilton just texted me and goes, Freiermuth tangent. Oh no, he said it about me. Hamilton goes, Freiermuth tangent. You wonder why people accuse you of being high on the air. People think that I'm high all the time because I'm
really?
Like.
It's early for you out there.
Well, back on Good Morning Football, it was like 3 a.m. You remember that, and it would just be. Would just be like, my eyes are red. It was a total mess. I can't believe you're taking voice lessons. Can I ask you why?
Why not? right? Like because I do think, and we're all over the place here, but I use Jimmy Fallon as my North Star in this. Like he really worked hard at his voice, and now he's a great mimic and a great impressionist. But to me, it's like anybody can probably, unless you're tone deaf, this is what my voice coach has told me. Unless you're like completely tone deaf, anybody can be pretty good with training and with lessons. So like, who doesn't want to like sound?
You're Mariah Carey. I think Rodney McLeod's standing me up. We're going to figure it out. Will you stick around with me, James?
Sure.
All right. We're going to take a short break here. We'll be live on YouTube
Rodney.
though. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. I still want to ask you about Philadelphia. We alluded to that, so we got to get to that.
Yeah.
And of course, Houston. So we'll be right back here on the ship. Voice lessons. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Hamilton, will you pop in here on trips with us? I thought you were taking a shot at Jimmy, not me.
Oh no, I would never do that to James. No.
I know. I was gonna say. Come on now, bro.
So what's going on? How are things?
Things are good. Things are good. We're doing stuff around the house. We're fixing things. We're attending. You know, it's a lot of figuring out what we're doing. It's fun. It's fun actually.
Yeah. And that's why you're the best, because you just approach it in that way, and that's why you're going to end up being Jimmy Fallon, and that would shock no one who knows you. So that's amazing.
But yeah, it's been cool just like calling around and chatting with people and seeing what's happening around the league. Like super fun. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How's hanging out with Russell Wilson? Is it fun?
I'm not hanging out with Russ at all. He's not here. His house is still for sale here and Seattle. I don't think either one has sold. Actually.
That was such a deflection. That was the weirdest deflection ever, Hamilton.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't see Russ. He's not here in Denver. I mean, I think he was out of here pretty quick once things went down.
Hamilton, who do you think takes that job?
I agree with you. I think it's eventually going to be Fields. I think, I think part of it might have to do, they brought Russell in first, and it seems like they agreed to give him a chance at being the starter. So I think they're going to give him every opportunity to take that job. But I think the talent with Fields and what he can do at this stage of his career.
Hamilton, it's funny. Isn't it funny that like their flaws are the same? Like, if you look at the thing, it's almost like Fields is like a younger version of Russ. Like they're the same player almost. They're like, I think that like last season or last two seasons combined, they hold onto the ball longer than any two quarterbacks in football. They are the two most sacked quarterbacks in football. They both have accuracy issues. They both have great arms that you love to watch throw the deep ball. Russ has an accurate deep ball. I don't think Justin's deep ball is as accurate as Russ's.
And they're both tremendous off script. When things break down, they make things happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's just a younger version of Russ. But you listen, in the offseason, the way this is going to go, I mean, in any situation with any team, this isn't just Mike Tomlin. It would be Russ is going to get the first shot. I mean, you just look at the resume and what he's done. That's just the way it works in the offseason, Can
I have the AJ Brown photo as part of that game?
AJ Brown.
I don't even know.
I attended AJ Brown and DK Metcalf's pro day, one of the best pro days I've ever gone to.
Oh man.
Let's come back with Houston.
Okay.
Okay, we're back on Up and Adams. I do believe Rodney McLeod has ghosted me. So James, if you want to pull some overtime here, just since you have the voice now, and
Rodney's a good guy too. Something came up.
I hope he's okay. Hopefully we can get him on. I was really, really excited to talk to him, but excited that you're here too. So thanks for hanging out. So Rodney, hope he's well and everything's cool and we can rebook him or get him on maybe in the last 10 minutes. We'll see. We didn't get to Houston, so I'm excited to talk to you about this because big swings this offseason. I was just talking about Stephon Diggs and Mixon and, CJ Stroud, obviously coming off the season that he did. Answer my unanswered question. Is it enough for these Texans to be real challengers to the Chiefs?
I think so. I mean, right now, nobody's in the Chiefs' realm just because nobody's doing what they're doing. So we can't put anybody in that until we start playing games. But they're built to do it, Kay. They really are. And it's not because of, like, Nico Collins getting this deal and the growth Nico's had and the time he spent with Dre to, become more efficient as a big-body receiver or Tank Dell and you add Stephon. It's not the skill guys, to me. I think they're built to do it because of where they're at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Like CJ walked into a really good situation with a good offensive line, with a lot of emphasis on what they do with that offensive line and how their offense is developed. And then the defensive line, like Danico Autry, I think is a really, really sneaky pick by any team in football this year. He had a really good year last year. And then Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., I mean, it's May, 29th? But like at the end of this season, Kay, we could talk about like this being the best edge rushing duo in football. Like they have that type of a talent. And then they got better at linebacker. I think Petrie is so underrated. Stingley had a great year last year. You have Jimmy Ward back there that still knows everything D'Amico wants to do defensively so well. I think down the middle of the field and through the lines of scrimmage, they're just really, really good. And the other part that stands out to me, and that people are always curious, like, will there be a sophomore slump, right? Always with quarterbacks. Will that happen? I don't think it's going to happen with CJ. Now, you mentioned earlier the strength of schedule changes dramatically for them. I think that's a big part. But I've had conversations with Bobby Slowick, who stayed, which is a big part for CJ at offensive coordinator. He just always makes the right decisions, Bobby said. Like, he checks the ball down. He comes back to the sideline. Hey, I wanted you to push it there. It wasn't there. It wasn't there, coach. I took the check down. Like, that's such a veteran way to think. And that's the way CJ goes through progressions, goes through them with his feet before his eyes, which is like a rare thing for a young quarterback. I just think he's built not to really, take a step backwards in how he's working when you add the weapons that I'm not emphasizing, but also where they're built on the inside.
So they could contend with the Chiefs, is what you're saying.
I think they could. I definitely think they could. It
We're
could
gonna
be
take a
that they
short
go
break.
into Arrowhead. They go into Arrowhead late, right?
Yeah.
In the year.
I don't know. Do they? I haven't looked.
I think they do.
We're going to take a short break. You're a Philly guy, so stick around in the break. We do have Rodney McLeod. He's now with the Browns, but was in Philly, and we'll be back with him. But Palmer, I got to get your take on this. Kylie Kelsey, your jersey.
Down at Sea Isle?
What do I need to know about this?
Well, that's not a rare exchange for Sea Isle. I'll just say that. That was the shore that I would go to. I mean, it could have happened right outside the OD. I don't know, but I will tell you this: watching that several times, like, I'm going to say this woman is incorrect because I'm going to guess that Kylie and Jason are still welcome in Sea Isle. Unlike what she said, that you will never be welcome back in this town.
This woman said that to Kylie. I thought Kylie said that to the woman.
I don't know. I couldn't really see. I thought I could see people. It was a little far away. Jason was in his normal attire, flip-flops with pants and a t-shirt, which is what he wears everywhere. I don't know. This was an exchange that I'm just going to say it doesn't matter your social status, Kay. This is an exchange that happens in Sea Isle once in a while.
What's it called? Sea Isle?
Sea Isle City. Yeah,
Do you
it's
think
one of the many shores that you can go
Rodney
to.
McLeod knows about Sea Isle City?
100% he does.
Rodney, no, you don't. Rodney, have you ever heard of Sea Isle City from your Philly days?
I guarantee he does.
I haven't been out there, but I've heard of it around town.
See?
But I haven't been.
See, Rodney? Yeah, CK, he knows.
No one's hanging out there.
Jason loves Sea Isle.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't been down there though.
Yeah.
No judgment.
Rodney, thanks for joining us. I think you two probably have crossed paths several times in Philly
Big time.
over the years.
Absolutely.
We totally have. Yeah,
We'll
we
see
follow
by-
each other on Instagram.
James, before you go, give me your picks here. Palmer picks. Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Am I going to see it or not?
Oh, 100%. That's a summer classic. Yeah.
How
Fourth
about
installment. I love
Mad
the way the
Max
plot has. I
Furiosa?
love the arc of the plot of Bad Boys 4. The way this has gone through the first three. I'm excited to see what happens in 4.
Mad Max Furiosa.
I'm still partial to the first one. The
Sour
original.
Patch Oreos.
Mel Gibson. What?
Sour Patch Oreos.
Sour Patch Oreos? Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
thing. Gross.
No.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
Not doing it.
I don't know why I keep getting the tweets and the texts about being high. I'm not like James is the one that lives in Denver. Like, have you guys met James Palmer? And
Well, that's
Eddie.
that's true. But you're the one asking questions about Sour Patch Oreos, which
Shout out
I
to
think they're
Eddie.
putting things together. Yeah.
Actually, Eddie, you suck for not watching my show. That's what I'll say. Eddie, you need to live your life better. Your hair
Exactly.
looks better than ever. I don't know what you have up your sleeve, but certainly something. We're back in 15 seconds. So love you. See you soon.
Bye, friend.
See ya. Friends text each other, Jimmy. Rodney McLeod's like, what the actual heck am I walking?
Is intercepted by Philadelphia. McLeod has got it.
Interception. Rodney McLeod.
Slinging and it's picked off. Rodney McLeod.
Here he is, excited to have Rodney McLeod on the show. One of the great names, the true great names in NFL history. He spent time with the Rams, the Eagles, the Colts. He's running it back with the Cleveland Browns this year. Special player, because my favorites are the undrafted free agents, 2 Super Bowl winning champions. Rodney McLeod, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm happy to have you on the show. I haven't talked to you in a long time. And I just want to dig right into it because you re-signed with Cleveland, which makes a lot of sense. I know you've got a lot more to give. You've talked about it. But I was thinking literally all day yesterday, like I had researchers working on this. When is the last time a player sort of said it was his last lap before the season? I don't remember anyone ever doing that. What made you make that decision?
Well, I know one, BG, my good friend over with the Eagles, Brandon Graham. He's already put it in the air, so I really was following suit with him. But honestly, I don't know. I think I'm kind of just content with where I am in my career, but also where I am in my life, and really just looking forward to going out and enjoying this last ride. Not really putting too much pressure. I think it just happened organically. But I'm excited. I'm not thinking too far, ahead to retirement. I'm more focused on the present and, one, how do I get myself better, throughout this offseason? And then 2, ensuring that I'm available for my team this year from start to finish, and looking to hopefully be able to add another title to my name, to that undrafted career that nobody anticipated. But it's going to be a special year for a lot of reasons.
I would love that for you. 2023 didn't end how you wanted it to. You want to be available for your team because after week 11, you weren't. You had the torn biceps. I don't think it's holding you back from everything I'm seeing. How are you feeling? And how did ending your season not on your own terms affect your decision to retire?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm really at the point now where I can do anything. So it's no longer an issue. I'm past that point in the rehab process. So I really could just focus on ball, which is the great part about it. And, because of when it happened during the season, allowed me to really not rush the process, right? And ensure that every marker was checked. We feel good. And then, yeah, I think it really made my decision that much easier to return because I felt as though the story was left incomplete. And, that just doesn't sit right with me. I need to make sure that I put a period on it or hopefully an exclamation mark, right, behind that story. And so, yeah, that's what made me, decide to come back to Cleveland this year and line it up one more time with a great group of men.
I feel like it's not like you wouldn't have had an exclamation point last year. It was the #1 total defense, like amazing defense that you're a big time leader on. And I'm excited to see. I mean, you said, quote, I left food on the plate last year. I got to know what's left at the buffet for you.
There's always more to prove, to be honest. And that's what's kept me around this long is that consistent chip on my shoulder, finding something to motivate me and drive me that much more each and every year. And this year it was the fact that, I am happy, that I was a part of the #1 defense last year. But again, I don't know if Cleveland saw the full me. And so that's what I'm looking forward to putting on display this year. In front of the Cleveland fans and an NFL world.
Y'all are doing your thing on defense. You're saying, that Cleveland hasn't seen the full you. There's a lot of people concerned that we have seen the full Deshaun Watson. 2 unique, interesting seasons back to back. Is there more to Deshaun Watson?
Absolutely, there's more. I think we all witnessed that last year. Unfortunately, his season was also cut short, but in a time where he was a starter, I believe we were 4-1 at that time. And, his last outing was probably one of the more impressive games I've seen, or even halves alone that I've seen from a quarterback. And he literally willed us to that victory. And so I'm looking forward to seeing Ford back in the starting lineup for us, leading the team, and really putting on display everything that he's worth. And so I'm excited for what he's going to be able to do for us this year with a full off season of recovery, and him, playing lights out, which we all know he's capable of.
And now you got Jameis there, who I saw at the Derby, and he's in rare form. Like, that's maybe the most interesting quarterback room in the entire NFL. And it's going to take everybody showing up like crazy. Listen, there's like a very short list of players that I'm just dying to get a ring. I think Christian McCaffrey is on the list. Myles Garrett is probably number one on that list for me. I want him to get a ring so bad. How often does he talk about that?
Yeah, I believe Miles, he is very deserving of a ring, because of how much he puts into the game, how much the game means to him, but more importantly, how much the city and his teammates, mean to him. So, Miles, he doesn't say much, but his presence is always felt. And so I know that's something that he thinks about on a regular basis, even though he may not express it as often, but he's doing everything possible to bring a championship to the city.
I want to get through two questions. We have about a minute left, but I want to, Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett, it's insane that you got to play with these two defensive specimens, two of the best to ever do it. I'm curious, we quickly pick between these two. Which of those two are quarterbacks in your experience more afraid to go up against?
Oh,
Who's squirming the most?
I might say Miles.
Yeah,
And it's no diss to my dog AD, but I think Miles just completes. He presents a different challenge, and I think he's a little more scary, especially because his ability to be able to line up wherever, whether it's on the edge, or we even saw last year him lining up over the center. He could do it all.
You're not thinking about your last season, but I think it's going to put you in a mental space to bring it on every snap. Not that you don't always, but it's going to do a little something extra. I'm going to show you the quarterbacks that you have left. We're on this tour. Who is left on the bucket list that you want to pick off? You got Dak, you got Flacco, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. You could get, who would you like on this list?
I would say I probably need one from my dog, Jalen Hurts. And it'll be nice within the division to get one off Lamar Jackson, too.
All right. I love this. And I'm hoping that for you. And of course, that's Tom Brady's first game in the booth at Fox to kick off your season. So we're all excited and rooting for you. And congrats on an insane career, a Super Bowl championship, and trying to bring another one to Cleveland.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Rodney. I like your t-shirt. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.